You know what? I think I'm gonna hit y'all with it for old time's sake. What is up, people of all different types of ages, races, genders, and yes, even you other species out there watching this video? It's your boy, OmegaPro, and I did something I never thought I would do again. I re-downloaded Dokkan Battle in 2023, and I played it again for the first time since like 2016, maybe a little bit after that. The last time I remember playing Dokkan Battle, I pulled LR Gohan back when LRs were actually like kind of rare, but I guess now like you get an LR every time you sneeze or something. I don't really know, but that is the last time I actually remember playing Dokkan Battle. For those of you guys that don't know, I used to be a Dokkan Battle channel way back in the day, back in like 2016 or so, like I mentioned, and I played the game a lot and I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of good memories on this game and it was really dope to make content on it. However, I only really liked the game for the summoning aspect of it, and obviously, you know, summoning can get rather expensive and then also rather tedious waiting for new events and waiting for new characters to pull for and all that other stuff. The gameplay was never really the selling point to me personally, and also the game didn't really have a ton of content or challenging gameplay or any of the unique things that they sort of have now. So for me, I was kind of like, man, I'm kind of done with this. Like, I've been making summoning videos and doing stuff like that for months, and it really wasn't hitting like that for me personally. I came back every once in a while, and I'll still never forget when STR Gogeta dropped. That was a movie, my boys. I remember I went live on my Twitch channel, had over 1,000 heads up in there. We was all summoning for Gogeta. I pulled Gogeta on that stream. It was a moment. It was a movie. You just had to be there, my boys. I say all that to say, I'm really an OG with the shits. Like, I played Dokkan way back in the day. And I was really curious as to like what about this game keeps people playing it. Like it's been like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, and people are still playing Dokkan. Like there's gotta be some crack up in the code in this game or something like that. And since my days of Dokkan, I've moved on and I've played things like Genshin and Honkai and stuff like that. And when I first played those games, I was like, oh man, I can't believe I ever played Dokkan. I can't believe I put myself through this type beat. But I'm not gonna lie, Dokkan is quite a bit better than those games in certain aspects. Poyoverse stands. Stand by, stand down. You know what I'm saying? Don't kill me. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But how am I feeling about Dokkan Battle after reinstalling it after all these years and trying it out for the first time in a long time? Well, let's go ahead and talk about what I liked about it and what I didn't like, starting off with some of the negatives about this game that I'm experiencing off rip. It's only been about 2 days since I started playing. I have been playing a lot, but this is what I've surmised so far. The first thing is that when you first install this game as a new player, you are going to be mad overwhelmed. There is like 700 events. There's like 700, you know, notifications popping up. You're like, yo, like, what am I meant to do? Like, what do I prioritize? What do I do here? What do I do there? You're going to be extremely overwhelmed. And I don't think the content is categorized well enough to allow you to know what you're supposed to be doing or what you can even do as a beginner. If you just downloaded the game, you could hop onto some Dokkan events immediately. And if you were to try those, you probably know you're not gonna beat those things. So if you are gonna download Dokkan for the first time, the best thing to do is to just start off with the Dokkan story quest, and that's probably gonna be your best way to go. And speaking of that Dokkan story quest, it was also really confusing because when you click on the play button, you have like the big Dragon Ball Z story mode button right there, and you think, hey, maybe that's what I should be doing. Maybe I click on that and that's like sort of the main content of the game. But I would argue that you get a little bit more value and there's a lot more content to do if you click the original Dokkan story quest mode, which that mode is the original Dokkan story mode from when the game first launched way back in the day. And that's the stuff that I remember doing way back in like 2015, 2016 or so. So just start off with some of that stuff and see how you're liking the game in the first place. And if there's a good banner or something like that, then maybe you can try that out. But that goes into another aspect that really confused me is I don't ever really know like what is worth doing. Is the new banner even worth summoning on? Because as a gacha game, obviously this game is going to try to get you to spend your money. It's going to try to get you to summon and all that shit, but you don't really know if these banners are worth pulling on, if these banners are traps. And this game has a lot of things that do feel like traps. Like they'll dangle like a Gogeta in front of your face, and you're like, oh my god, like I love Gogeta when I was a kid, man. Maybe I wanna get this Gogeta or whatever. But then you find out that Gogeta was good in 2016, and he ain't really on shit now, like type beat. And it's really just kind of misleading in that way. And as a new player, it's very easy to fall into those traps. This is where I think games like Genshin and Honkai do really well, in that when you start these games, it's more so like a regular story mode. So it kind of like strings you along and eases you into the overall ecosystem and the overall world of the game. So that way, like, it feels a little bit more natural and you're not like so confused. Like, imagine you started Genshin and you could immediately do like the weekly world bosses. You could immediately hop into the Spiral Abyss. You could immediately do any dungeon in the game that you wanted to, like off rip. You'd be very, very confused. So I think that is one of the negatives about Dokkan Battle. And it's especially bad because I feel like the only way to really get accurate information is to go outside of the game and ask for help. So for me, luckily, I've got a Twitter audience that I was able to ask, and they were able to help me. And thank you guys to everybody on Twitter that did help me out with all my noob ass questions and all my stupid posts that I put on Twitter. But yeah, I was confused at first, and I don't think the game does a good enough job of telling you these things in the game, so that way you know like what is worth doing and what isn't worth doing. And anytime I try to like look up a Reddit thread or look up a YouTube video answering the specific question I had, it was either outdated or wasn't really specific enough to my specific case that I was in. And it makes a lot of sense because as a gacha game, the game is changing every day, every week, every month. There's constantly new things happening. So it's very unrealistic to expect content creators to be like, oh, hey guys, look, it's a new week. Now the whole meta of, Dokkan Battle is shifted and this is what you should be doing as a new player. Like, you can't really put that expectation on the content creators to fill that gap because, bro, they would never have time to do anything if they had to do that. So I really wish that the game eased you into that sort of stuff a little bit better there. And in one case, I feel like they knocked it out of the park, but I'll talk about that when I move on to the positives here. Another thing that I really did not like about Dokkan Battle, and I complain about this with every single gacha game, and look, I understand that this is just a gacha thing. Like, it feels like no gacha game is going to escape this, but stamina is the worst system in video games of all time. Look, to me, it's not really an issue yet because I've only been playing for a couple of days, but when I do hit that wall, when I do sort of run out of that infinite stamina type beat, it's going to be miserable. I remember I got really into Bleach Brave Souls a few years ago, and I was really, really into that game because at first they give you almost infinite stamina. And again, since you're new to the game, there's almost infinite content to do. So you're just like blasting through stuff and you're having a great time with your units. You're having a great time grinding and all that other stuff. But then eventually you run out of stamina and then you start to realize how limited the game actually is. And I remember in the case of Bleach Brave Souls, I could literally do like maybe 2 or 3 events max before I had to refill my stamina. I'm sorry, bro, that is inexcusable. Now look, I understand it's just a mobile game. You're not meant to play this shit for 8-9 hours a day or whatever. But when you have things that require so much of a grind, gating that grind just feels bad. Like you're locking off this grind that's already tedious as it is, and you're forcing what is already a subpar experience to last over days or weeks or whatever, and it just feels bad. Like if I have an extra Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and I want to blast through a grind, I should be able to just like waste all my weekend doing that if I wanted to, instead of like taking time out every single day to play for a couple of hours. Now I know that as a gacha game, that's exactly what they want from you. They want you to come back each and every day for maybe an hour or 2 or however long. And then if you are able to spend money on those dragon stones, which is a very rare and premium currency, then maybe you can go ahead and play a little bit more. But I just don't like that aspect. And I understand that that's the way it is. But here's a little bit of a life lesson for y'all. Just because that's the way something is doesn't mean you have to accept it. Doesn't mean that you have to sit there and be like, well, I guess that's just gacha games, hee ha ha, like type shit. I'm gonna continue let them to fuck me type. No, fuck that. If you don't like some shit, then say that shit. Are they gonna change it? Of course they won't change it, but I can still express my dissatisfaction with that. I think that shit is whack, and I would like it if there was a gacha game in the future that had at least a better stamina system, or maybe the grind didn't require stamina, or maybe stamina was used for something a little bit different. I don't really know, man. I'm not a game developer. All that I can say is the stamina system sucks ass. I hate that shit. But as of right now, that's about all the negative things that I can muster up in my brain, my little pea-sized brain. So let me go ahead and talk about a lot of the positives of this game that I really like. And the first one being that the overall gameplay, just like, it's fun to me. And even if it's not very fun, it's like super casual to the point where if you are doing a grind or something like that, like it's just cool to open up your phone and just like play for a few minutes or something like that. That's all the time you have. Like right now, as I'm recording this video, I am currently doing some auto battling grinding, so that way the game can just like grind for me, and that way I can get the resources that I need, so that way when I'm done recording this video, I can hop back in and actually play some of the other events that I want to do. And I think that is, pretty dope. And if you're playing just casually, like doing the story mode or doing, whatever event that you want to do, it can be really casual. You can have that on while you're watching a movie, watching an anime, watching a TV show, doing whatever. Or if you want to play some of the harder content that's actually going to require you to focus, then you can go ahead and do that. And I will say the content is definitely a lot more fun and engaging now than it was when I played in like 2016. Because I remember there not being that many events to do, first and foremost. And granted, this is a plus due to the game being out for years and years now, but there wasn't a lot of content to do, and the content that was there to do, it wasn't really too engaging to me. But now units have a lot more depth to them. Like some units will have these additional follow-up attacks. Like I'll be using some Vegetos from my friends list or whatever, and they be attacking like 2-3 times. Like that shit is dope. Characters are hitting crits now. There's like stuns and heals, and some of that stuff was always in the game, but like I feel like now like units have so much more variety to them that it feels rewarding to use different units, and a lot of the times I want to see what different units can do. The content itself is also just a lot more challenging. Like right now, my account isn't good enough to do a lot of the Dokkan events or do the Extreme Z battles, but I can't wait until it is there. And those Extreme Z battles, I think, are a dope addition. They're pretty much these like little boss fights that can increase in difficulty the more that you complete them. And I think that's a dope thing to do. And they require 0 stamina. Like I'm looking forward to doing some of that stuff. And speaking of the units and stuff like that, man, this game can be pretty beautiful at times. Like a lot of these animations are like really good. And some of these little cutscenes that they throw in and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, okay, Dokkan, you kinda on your shit, you kinda doing your thing type beat. I was pretty impressed with what I was seeing. And it makes it that much better when you have a unit that you've grinded up for so long, you worked so hard on this unit, and to then see like a really dope animation or to see something that's just really cool happen in general, it feels really rewarding to see that. Another really good positive, I've talked about this a little bit here, but when you first start this game, there's going to be a lot of content to do. Yes, it's handed to you in a very overwhelming manner, and I do think that that is a negative, but it's really dope to have all of this content to do. Again, Hoyoverse stands, I'm sorry, but I've really grown to appreciate when a game actually has shit for you to do in it, okay? Now, if you are a Hoyoverse stan, you can't even argue with me, bruh. Like, what you doing in Genshin Impact right now? I'll wait. What you doing in Honkai right now? You're waiting for them to drop something else. You know, it's gonna be what, another month, 2 months until you get something to do? Like, bro, trust me, I've been there. It just feels good to know that, like, I've got stuff that I can do in this game. And speaking of that stuff that you can do in this game, a lot of that stuff can be free to play too. There's a lot of free to play units to grind. Now, are those units going to be good? Maybe, maybe not, but at least there is stuff for you to do. And that's something that I really appreciate. And now I'm going to talk about what is my favorite thing that I've witnessed in Dokkan Battle so far. And I don't know if this is a new thing or when this was implemented exactly, but there needs to be more stuff like this. And that was that Greatest Warrior event. That was the highlight of playing Dokkan for me, and it kind of sucks that that was the first thing that I did in the game, and also seemingly the only thing like it in the game. I haven't seen anything else that sort of replicated that. The Greatest Warrior event is an event that happens when you first start the game, and there's like this little, pretty much like a checklist of things for you to do. So that way, by the time you end up finishing that, you get a whole LR Goku unit. And at least so far where I'm at in the game, that motherfucker hits real hard. I be doing like 2 mil hits, 3 mil crits with that guy. It's pretty dope. And it's all completely free to do. And the event itself was very easy to follow. It had a really good structure to it. It was straightforward, and it gave you these rewards along the way. And the best part of it is that that entire little event is teaching you a lot of things about the game, whether it's training up characters, whether it's using your orbs to 100% characters, or doing Dokkan events or Z Battle Extreme events or whatever. Like, I think that part of the game is Dokkan's little tutorial section that is supposed to like get you caught up with the game and help you learn some of these things. And I think it did a decent job of that. There were still a few things that I was confused about that I ended up asking for help about, and that stuff got cleared up. But regardless, I think that event was immaculate. And the best part of it too was that if you needed to do a certain event or grind a certain character or obtain a certain character, with just one tap, it took you directly to the part you needed to go to in the game to get that character, to train that character or whatever. It was really, really streamlined. And that free-to-play unit you got, that Goku, feels so good to use. I love using that character. Even with all the guest characters and stuff that I've been able to sort of borrow, I still think that that free-to-play Goku is dope. The animations that he does is really cool. He does a lot of damage. And it feels great that I did that. Like, I grinded for that unit. It took me all day pretty much, but I grinded for that. I obtained that. And I really wish all free-to-play units had events like this to obtain them, or at least more free-to-play units had events to obtain them like this. Right now, I'm going to be in the free-to-play grind to get the Ginyu Force. And if you know anything about Dokkan Battle, you know that this event is super tedious. Pretty much, you can get the members of the Ginyu Force only on specific days. Like on a Monday, you can get Birder. On Tuesday, you get whatever. On Wednesday, you get Ginyu. And you have to wait on those specific days to grind those specific characters. And then on the weekend, you can't even get the characters at all. You can only get their orbs to work on 100%ing them. And that just sucks, man. Like, you're making this grind that would already be pretty tedious in general, and you're making it stretch across an entire week to get these characters. It just feels bad. Not to mention that whole entire process will take stamina. So if you are, behind on stamina, or you don't have an excess of stamina due to being a new player, well, you're gonna have to either spend Dragon Stones to replenish that stamina to keep doing that event, or just get screwed, buddy. You're done for the day, okay? Tap out, get out of here. And that just feels really bad. I really liked that Greatest Warrior event, and I wish more stuff was like it. So yeah, that leaves me to a final question. Should you play Dokkan Battle? Maybe you never played it. Maybe you played it for a while back in the day, and you're wondering if you should hop back on. And my opinion is, honestly, yeah, I actually think you should play Dokkan Battle. Now, I understand that this game is very easy to shit on, especially from the outside, or even if those of you that have been veteran players that have been playing for a while, I understand how easy it is to shit on this game. But truthfully, if you're just looking for a casual game you can play on your phone, and that's gonna have enough content to last you months, I actually think this is a pretty decent option. And I'm glad that I reinstalled it. And truthfully, I'm really grateful for everything that this game has to offer, because after playing Hoyoverse games like Genshin and Honkai, I forgot that games can actually have content. Granted, this game had years to build all that up, but it just feels nice to know that if I grinded this game for a week, there's still gonna be more shit for me to do if I want to do it. You know, I can't really say the same for Hoyoverse games. Also, the game's gonna throw huge events and celebrations pretty regularly, so new stuff is getting added all the time. But then that makes me question, you know, will I continue playing Dokkan Battle? Who knows, honestly. At this moment, I am enjoying it, and I think I will play it until at least the worldwide event happens. But, you know, I usually tend to fall off on games after like a few weeks, so who knows if it's gonna end up sticking through? Who knows if it's gonna stand the test of time? But truthfully, that's not the point. Who cares if I played this game for 1 week or 5 years, right? Like, if I'm getting the enjoyment from this game, then I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna stress about the future. I'm not gonna worry about, oh, am I gonna be playing this a few weeks from now, a few months from now? I'm just gonna live in the moment and enjoy it while it's here. Damn, I'm not gonna lie, some low-key good life advice too. You feel me? Life advice, you know, philosopher pro in the building type shit. But yeah, anyways, that was my little video on Dokkan Battle after years of not playing it. Yeah, if you guys have any advice for new or returning Dokkan Battle players, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below. Will I end up making more Dokkan Battle videos in the future? Honestly, probably not. Who knows? If I end up sticking with it, it might be a thing that I return to and make more content on. But as of right now, this is serving sort of as a one-off video. And yeah, man, Dokkan Battle, you know, it's pretty fun. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in my next video.